Hey, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? I am Duffy Duck here once again, and I'm back for some more yet again for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos. And ladies and gentlemen, Mario, can you not even ducking every single time? I get it for your exercise, but in forms of preparing yourselves the future missions up ahead, most notably with the Prankster Comets and all that stuff for just going back into World 1, 2, and probably going back into 3 for progressioning's sake. So even then though, you might be able to actually just get this exercise going and whatnot. So anyway though, welcome back to more Let's Play of Super Mario Galaxy 2 for the Nintendo Wii / Nintendo Wii U eShop version. So yeah, last time we did manage to get things started with the forms of World 3, and managed to able to gather quite a few power stars, and in addition with that, after collecting several of those comet medals and during the likes of In For Our Adventure, we do realize about the fact that the more you collect those, if you do collect more of those comet medals, then you would able to actually realize you would able to actually unleash more of those Prankster Comets in certain stages. So even then though such, then today for this video is the fact that, well, what I'm gonna do here is the fact that this video is gonna be most likely focusing on Prankster Comets missions. Although I will be eventually going back into World 3 no matter what though, for the sake of progressioning. But for the time being though, let's just go ahead and jump into the forms of the Prankster Comet mission. So let's get this thing to it with Sky Station Galaxy in Pee-wee Piranha's Speedrun. And of course, differently from any other speedrun missions from the likes of the original game, is that as you can see, before we start this mission off, we have less time? What? How is that even possible? Oh yeah, the main purpose of this speedrun missions this time around though in this game is the fact that you need to collect the certain amount of those little clock icons, and every time you grab those, then it adds up to your time. So even then though, it's all about fast and especially quick, even especially noticeably also, that you do need to continuously grabbing those, clock watches, because the more you collect them, the more time you get. So even then though, because of this though, we have less time compared to the forms of how it does it in certain speedrun levels, and especially noticeable in the future ones especially, which we'll get to those in the future. But for now on though, oh crap, I almost bypassed that clock instantly, but at least we can able to actually fight against with Pee-wee Piranha for, I would say this is actually the final time we're going to be dealing with him. So even then though, so I think we should probably do the exact same strategy as the forms of last time. So even then though, let's do this nice little backflip and just ground pound onto this eggshell instantly, and we can able to actually hopefully try to attack his bottom. So even then though, once we're done with that, usually for about 2 hits and stuff. So even then though, it's the same mission as the forms of from the very first mission in the game, but except the fact that I realized is the fact that they haven't really giving us that much planets to begin with, apart from the very beginning, which is usually Yoshi's house, and especially noticeable with this particular, how do you record it exactly for those little spherical planets or something like that. But even then, I do apologize with the forms of certain dialogue or anything like that. But the biggest difference is I realize is that, as you can see, that in the original game, think of the original game for a second, whenever you're trying to able to deal with like a boss at the very end of the speedrun missions, where the timer itself is still continuing, and including with the purple coin challenges and all that stuff, this time around though, if you manage to accomplish something while the power star usually appears, the timer itself is now completely gone. So even then though, you don't have to worry about hurrying yourself up while the time itself will be able to run out. So at least that's a very cool thing in theory, because even then though, that could be also same applies for destroying all the enemies routine, and that's as far as I can gather. So even then though, let's just head back into World 2 now, because there's going to be another Prankster Comet, but this time around though is going to be located in Boulder Bowl Galaxy. So I remember this quite frequently though, because even then though, well, we'll get to that whenever we jump in. I'll just jump right in. So even then though, another Prankster Comet detected, and let's see what we got here. Rolling Crapper Rump, which basically destroys another set of enemies. But this time around though, rather than dealing with Spinies, instead we now need to take on those crabs. But not just the normal regular crabs with the orange ones, but it's also the very annoying blue ones. Because I say that because this is probably, to me, is by far the hardest defeating all the enemies mission. Because, well, first of all, we need to use the rock mushroom, which I will admit though right away, it's not as particularly accurate as it sounds, but it's actually really good when it comes to like if you run into certain enemies at all times. But here's the only difficult part about this mission compared to the rest, is the fact that, well, as you can tell right there, we need to deal with all sorts of crabs, which we've already know that. Like, basically, not only for the sake of the normal orange ones, but it's also we need to deal with the most annoying blue crabs. Because, again, with the forms of the same issue we have with the original game is that, well, if you're really trying to able to take down these blue crabs, well, they always attempt to run off like nothing else. Even potentially speaking, that since I've only got about 5 crabs left, and then if I manage to try to get just one last crab from over there, like imagine if I managed to go myself 29 enemies down, and then most of the time though, I always attempt to bypass the crabs instantly, especially noticeable when it gets to the final 2. And don't get me started on that blue one, because even then though, like the original game though, however though, is the fact that they always attempt to throw you off, even by the forms if you're trying to able to get him. At least gets like, I would say there are about 3 of those one-upping variations of the crabs themselves. But even then though, still, it might be a little bit tricky to able to actually just glimpse with, because even then, if you're bypassing certain crabs or anything like that, then chances are you might as well get screwed over no matter what. So even then though, generally a little bit trickier as far as the actual mission itself, and aside from that though, well, it might actually took me a lot of tries to able to actually just to do that. In fact, I did manage to fail this quite a few times during the actual on my own time, so even then though, hopefully I need to get some practice on this one, but even then though, still, it might be essentially gonna be, you know, the little bit more trickier mission, admittedly, from that. So even then though, and it looks like we got 3 more enemies to go still, so even then though, I'm pretty sure I might as well get the exact same amount of enemies left, which this time around though is not going to be the annoying crabs, which is essentially the blue ones, but instead it's just only 2 normal orange ones. So even then though, I was pretty damn close, but it was an okay run. But then again, the exact same amount, but the different amount of different colored crabs and all that stuff. So let's hopefully we can try this again for the 3rd time's a charm, and excuse me, I really do sorry about this point, folks, because I got something in my throat there, even though I did manage to recover my voice after, like, you know, yesterday's Yoshi's Woolly World upload, which just managed to happen during yesterday. So at least even then though, at least I managed to go and cover it. So even then though, hopefully I might as well be back on Yoshi's Woolly World and during tomorrow on Thursday. So even then though, you probably get the gist of it. So excuse me about sorry about that. But anyways though, the things we wanted to explain about this potentially is the fact that today's day is the forms of the 10th of July in 2019. In this case today, that Dr. Mario World for the iPhone devices / Android devices has recently came out today. And for I've played it on my own time though, it's okay. I mean, nothing substantially amazing or anything like that, even though that's much like any forms of how it does it on certain puzzle games on the iPhone devices, it actually includes the actual missed, well, transactions when it comes to, like, purchasing some of those, in-game items with the actual real money, which, you know, that's the only thing I wasn't too fond of, but even then, though, this is the Mario game, and it's actually, I think, fundamentally, though, kind of like the same thing for Mario Kart Tour, despite the fact that we still have not got the actual final release date for Mario Kart Tour, but I'm sure enough there will be one. And during the likes of it, oh, we got ourselves this letter from someone we addressed to the baby Luma. To my lost Luma, I hope this letter reaches you in bright spirits, little one. This should be of some help to you on your journey back to me. May the stars shine down on you. And with that particular in mind, this could be very familiar, and also as a result, we got ourselves 50 star bits to top it all off. So even then, it's a very good way to able to get after the, well, essentially go after some of these star bits. So even then, it's a nice little reward, I suppose. So even then, let's head back into World 1, and let's go ahead and deal with the next mission, which is usually located in Flip Swap Galaxy, and, I wonder what the next challenge could it be. So even then though, I'll give my first impressions, or in this case, I'll explain my first impressions with why I've played Dr. Mario World until any second, because even then though, let's jump right in with the actual mission in Flip Swap Galaxy we have is Purple Coin Flip and Sprint. So even then though, you know, we need to continuously have to flip over for those different panels and such. And once again, we need to grab all 100 of those purple coins and all that stuff. And not only that, we also have a time limit too. So even then though, that's, you know, you probably get the idea of how this is going. So even then though, let's just go ahead and, you know, just keep on grabbing those purple coins, and that's about it. So even then though, that's all there is to resides. So, dang it, I didn't even, like, react to it in time. In fact, I think my long jump is not even accurate in that specific time. So, oh well though, we'll try that again. And instructions, I already know what this is, so even then though, you don't have to tell me again. So, anyway though, aside from, you know, the Dr. Mario World did match that came out today on the forms of most other countries out there, but for what I've played so far on my own time, I said this before, it was alright, I suppose. Oh god, can I even make it? Can I live? I did not expected that. Even I could able to get extra lift right there so that I can able to survive from that specific flip right there, because I keep on thinking to myself on my own time actually, whenever I did manage to did this mission before, and for whatever reason, I just managed to able to accept my challenge, almost. Like, specifically do this mission without even, like, flipping those little panels, but it's actually mandatory in order to do that, because even then, because I'm still used to with, the first mission of, this level, because even then, though, because, well, I was attempting able to actually do for that specific challenge, like, not on my own time per se, but even then, something's worth mentioning for that part. So, anywho, though. So, yeah, before I played Dr. Mario World, as I said before, it's pretty okay for the most part, even though the graphics do look a bit passable at points. Well, it might be a little bit simplistic compared to the forms of how it does in certain Dr. Mario games from the past, even though despite the fact that there is no Wario as a playable character, unlike Dr. Mario 64, which only came out on North America, which even then though, I'm surprised that European doesn't get Dr. Mario 64 as well as Japan as well. Well, technically Asia does have Dr. Mario 64, but it's only for IQ player, because even then though, because of downloadable digital downloads on the N64 software titles, but translated into Chinese text and stuff, so even though something is a little bit more specific than that, so even though that's why we have not got... I have no idea why we have not got ourselves Dr. Mario 64 to begin with when it comes to, like, releasing it, so even then though... Oh well though. So anyways though. So yeah, before I play it, I said before, that I said this plenty of times potentially, is the fact that, well, it's okay, but even then though, it's not my all-time favorite phone games, because even then though, because you know how the fact that with, you know, transactions when it comes to, like, you know, for the purchasing stuff in during the likes of in some random items you can get, like, for instance, replenish your health, and especially noticeable with some of those special gem items, which, you know, you probably get the idea for what I'm gonna talk about here when it comes to, like, you know, if you're trying to unlock something rare with the gems and all that stuff, well, it's kind of like in those particular games like that. So even then, though, still, it make it a little bit of more of a traumatizing way for able to actually just to realize that, you know, you still be using your real money to able to spend on, which I personally will not do that on for the sake of whenever I play the rest of the game, because I'm actually going to be pretty comfortable when it comes to, like, you know, doing all sorts of things, mind you. Well, some exceptions, which there are, well, My Little Pony, you know, application game on the iPhone devices, so that I can able to unlock some more ponies or characters or whatever though. So, speaking of My Little Pony, actually, that, after all, we're still at the forms of, July already, so even then though, we've only got about a couple of days to go, or weeks to go potentially, which we might actually come across into, well, the second and the final half of Season 9, in this case the final conclusion of the entire series. So even then I'm going to be pretty sad, and also I'm going to bring the tissues at the same time too, just for the sake of the forms of some emotional ending or something, which, even then, who knows about that. So anyways though, so let's get into the forms of, hey, there's Luigi right there, but honestly I might as well able to actually save him until the later portion of this entire game in the process. So even then, sorry to say Luigi, but maybe next time around though. So for now, let's go ahead and deal with the forms of the purple coin challenge mission once again. But this time around though, it takes place in, oh god, the big slide mission. So even then though, you probably expected to see how this one goes out to be. This is where the actual later missions like this, even with the purple coin challenge mission, starts to get significantly harder than the forms of how it does it from the original game. Even though there are still plenty of coins to collect though. Whoa, 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 whoa! Why is my jump input just not even reactor in time? Oh jeez, god dang it. Oh well, let's try this again and hopefully we can able to actually success by this point. So even then though, it's a little bit of an accidental purpose. So even then though, once again we need to grab 100 purple coins and all that stuff, you know, just like the usual. But the major difference is here is the fact that, well, if you manage to able to screw up at least once, when you have to re-grab some of these purple coins all over again. So yeah, it's gonna be one of those cases, I suppose, where it comes to like certain challenges later on though. And plus, you need to be dead on with that specific tilting the analog stick segment, because even then though, if you the more you tilt it, then oh please, for the love of God, jump, thank you. Yeah, because I have no idea why I did not even jump at the right time for that specific edge off on the actual slide. But it's nothing that baffling to me. It's just that sometimes I always keep on find myself in the occasional trial and error situations like these ones. So even then though, it doesn't hurt me that much. But at least even then though, I remember so much back in the day, in 2010 and stuff like that, when this game first came out. Oh my god, I got a little bit nerve-wracked. And speaking of nerve-wracked, whew, that was really close. And yes, if you think about it, that just like in certain purple coin challenges from the original game, specifically in Battle Rock Galaxy, and especially noticeable with Dreadnought Galaxy as well, there's actually a gear mode right in front of us, and then if you somehow don't collect all of the 100 purple coins in time, well, seems to say that once again, you're able to lose a life if you manage to not collect them all. So even then though, I will say though, that the gear mode robots are kind of a little bit harsh to us. So Tall Trunk's Purple Coin Slide is the name of this mission, though I forgot to mention about that since when we try and get things started potentially. So even then though, you probably get the drill from that part. Alright, so it turns out we have ourselves another Prankster Comet, but now we need to head back into World 2 once again. But this time around though, we need to deal with one of them in Hytale Falls. So even then though, let's see what mission are we gonna be involved with in this time. So even then though, who knows, we'll find things out. So yeah, you probably get the idea of how this will go for this, for the sake of this video. And same applies for the future videos and onwards, if many, but even then, we'll find things out until whenever we, continue proceeding for this Let's Play. So even then, let us move on now to the forms of the Comet mission in Hytale Falls. We have Hytale Falls Speedrun, which, if you couldn't tell by now, is basically a time limit, based mission. But, it is, at the same time, it makes this somewhat of a little bit of a hard mode on compared to the regular mission, because now they actually put up with a lot of emphasis on too many meteor rocks that starts to coming down, and especially noticeable with these little holes they actually did showing up with certain platforms and all that stuff. So if you don't know, we need to be very careful not to fall down to the bottomless pit, because if we do fall into the bottomless pit, well, we need to restart the entire mission again, because unlike the forms of how it does it on the normal or the secret mission for that matter, there aren't any checkpoints around here, because to be expected for some speedrunner, or in this case a speedrun missions, except for a couple of speedrun missions, which we'll get to those in the future time, but not now though, because it might contain some spoilers whenever you... For those who have not watched this Let's Play at all, then you might as well able to actually just have felt like, well, not exactly sure for that part. So even then, yeah. And also I couldn't tell by the fact that the bonus pad wasn't there to begin with, because of, obviously they've actually decided able to actually just to think that I'm not going to get you to the bonus pad, because you have to keep things moving, or anything like that. So even then, something's worth mentioning. So... yeah, this as far as I can say with this mission is that you need to constantly going to be using this dash pepper at all times, so that way you can able to continue proceeding when it comes to the forms of this mission. So even then, the only time it makes it a little bit tricky for you, especially noticeable if you're first time playing through this, is the fact that I always found that little, you know that part where it basically almost takes us to the next bridge or something like that? I always did have a hard time on that section at whenever I first time I played this though for some reason, if only because that you do need to dodge a lot of those meteor rocks and all that stuff from above. So even then though, that might be the only difficult part about this mission in particular, just because if you do not even like move at that split second or react to it in time, well, basically you need to able to actually commit suicide, or in this case for this matter, you need to restart every single part of the actual mission again. So that won't be that great, but even then, no, that's as far as I was trying to warn you about this. So even then, looks like we've only got one more mission left for the Galaxy Complete routine for World 1, but that'll be for later on. So even then though, I think that pretty much does it for Prankster Comets, at least for now on anyway though, because we'll be back onto the previous worlds as I said before, if we manage to continue grabbing those Comet medals of course. So even then though, let's get into the forms of the next stage in World 3, which appears to be Haunted or Haunty Halls. So even then though, onwards to the mission called A Glimmer of Bulbberry, which in this case, this might actually be the last Yoshi's power-ups in this game. So even then though, that's well, if you ever played the first game before, well, not exactly per se, but even then we'll mention more on that whenever we come across into that power-up. So even then though, let's just go ahead and you know, keep on grabbing more of those star bits, just like the likes of how it does in the first game. So even then though, still it usually still happens. So you know, you probably get the idea. And same applies by the forms of my Let's Play of Yoshi's Woolly World so far. That way I can able to, you know, gather the insane amount of beads and all that stuff. So yeah, you probably get the idea of how this is going. So anyways though, and looks like this might be a little bit of a waste of time just so that we can able to actually just, well, just going for some more of those star pits potentially. So even though I surely can't guarantee this might actually be like that, and I think that's still possible. You will die if you manage to accidentally fall off into the bonus pad. So even then, or the bonus planet, I should say. So you just have to be super sharp, and you have to be super careful about this. So what's also is a pretty nice looking level too is the fact that not only in terms of the actual structure itself, but it's also about the fact that if you can hear the background music very carefully, that's actually a throwback to the forms of Super Mario World from the Super Nintendo. So you know, with the one time with the ghost house levels and all that stuff, yeah, that's a pretty nice little throwback, which is pretty much a cool thing that I respect. So in fact, between Super Mario World, which is usually my favorite 2D Mario game, and Super Mario Galaxy 2 was actually still one of my favorite 3D Mario games of all time. Well, at least case for some degree. Well, at least some people seem to think that 3D World was actually a little bit of a best in that department because it has like multiplayer aspect. But my only problem with multiplayer on 3D World though, however though, is the camera issues, because even then the actual camera does not even keep up with you know, all the opponents at the same time. They always have to do it separate. So even then that's a little bit of a technical props for that, but even then it's just a little bit of a coincidence anyway. So but anyway though, nothing to be complaining about that though, because apart from the fact that it's just one little tiny nitpick with that. So anyway, of course we can never forget the Comet medal right here. So all we need to do is basically we need to wait for this platform to appear. And then we need to go onto this right side, because if you walk all the way back to the left, then obviously it takes you back to the safe spot. So something to keep that in mind, because even then, although if you accidentally manage to get into the pipe you go, well, if you don't grab the actual Comet medal to begin with, then chances are you might be able to miss out, unless if you accidentally died in a level or something. So anyways though, so here's the introduction to the Bulbberry, which, kind of think about it, it behaves exactly like how you normally would be from the likes of how it does it. You notice that all this, speaking of such actually, the actual environment itself with this section right here is almost very similar to the ones if you're familiar with the original game with the Matter Splatter mission in Ghostly Galaxy. It's kind of like that actually, except there's a lack of doors and all that stuff. So even then though, the Bulbberries are essentially good when it comes to like just trying to actually access to those hidden platforms and all that stuff, which even then though, there's a pretty nice little power up to have with Yoshi. So, and of course, if you ever think about it, do not get off of Yoshi though, because if you do, then you instantly fall off like nothing else. So you just have to watch out for that. So there we go, and we got about 39 power stars and 17 comet medals to our disposal. So yeah, how about that? And of course, there are some other pathways we can take. So, I don't think there's anything else new around here, aside from that, well, occasional, notifications by Lubbo, of course, which that'll be for later portions throughout. So anyways, let's head back to Haunted Halls and do the second mission. Now, of course, we're able to actually go for the snowy themed level until after this. So even then, no, sneaking down the creepy corridor. And I think fundamentally, though, it's going to be filled with ghost-like enemies. So even then, no, as far as this mission is concerned, when it comes to able to going for the bonus pad and all that stuff, I'm probably not going to waste my time going for that particular stuff, because it's not my, kind of thing, I suppose. So even then, let's just say this right now, we should probably continue from this point on. So even then, that's my kind of ideal way for able to do that. Must admit for this point, folks. So anyways, though, let's go ahead and continue things on, and, of course, there's a billboard right there, which, oh gosh, we have ourselves these big boos, even for, smaller, normal-sized boos to top of the loft, too, decide to chase after us. But, of course, we already the fastest thing alive, of course. Well, not necessarily the fastest thing alive, though, on the other hand, though, unlike Sonic the Hedgehog, of course. But, still, I can't really deny about that. So, even then, though, I think we should probably continue from that point. So, even then, though, let's go ahead and, give a nice little skedaddle and stuff like that before we're able to actually launch ourselves to this next planet and stuff like that. So even then, stuff like this. And hopefully, though, when it comes to the forms of, between the comparisons to the forms of, one thing I should forgot to mention about something is that during the likes of in 2015, if you're following through our channel recently, even though the actual original Let's Play of this game is no longer hosted here, I remember back in the day, back in 2015 and 16 and stuff like that, we always keep on able to delay for the actual hold up with certain parts of Super Mario Galaxy 2, which I'm hoping for this time around, though, for this year, that will not happen this time, because even then, though, because back in the day, I think this is probably something to do with, like, we're actually in a rush or something when it comes to uploading schedules or something, so even then, though, hopefully, though, that might not happen for this year, especially noticeable with this rendition of this Let's Play in 2019, so even then, though, so that what seems the case, they're able to not to delay anything, so other than just the occasional, future Let's Plays we'll be planning for, but that'll be for the future time, especially noticeable for the rest of the second half of the forms of, 2019 so far, which, I'm quite surprised we're almost getting quite close towards the end of this year, which I know is kind of fast, but still. But anyways, though, so let's move on to the next stage, which appears to be Freezy Flake Galaxy, and the mission we're going to be hit on to is Bowser on Ice. Or even more accurate, Dancing Bowser on Ice. Get it? Because of Dancing on Ice is usually, well, usually a figure skating program and stuff. That joke is not funny. But anyway. So anyways, though, so the majority of this mission is the fact that we do need to use the Fire Mario for this whole entire time, because obviously you know how this works, where if you must use fireballs to chuck at them, well, basically it'll melt the ice itself, which makes a little bit sense, because even then, though, that if you're trying to pack in heat or something like that with the snow or ice, it will tend to melt so easily. So here's the secret mission right here in Freezy Flake. So even then, let's see how this goes. Well, you just rolled into the domain of the champ. You've heard about my gaming skills, right? Today, I've got a little challenge for you. Just skate and bump the enemies. Watch out for the spiked ones. Simple enough. So, you're ready to experience this? Okay. I'll give you a power star if you reach 500 points to our disposal. So, anyway, so in this mission right here is the fact that we need to get onto the forms of the skating challenge, and basically what we need to do is very simple. We need to aim for 500 points in order to actually claim yourselves a power star and stuff. Now the first part, as far as you're already aware, it does have two variations of these mini games. Is that, well, the first part is not that bad, well, usually it's not that hard to begin with, but until later on though, it will give you a lot of attempts if you keep on messing things up and during later on though, because even then though, we'll mention more now whenever we get to that though. So even then though, for the most part though, is the fact that you should probably aim for the green ones, and especially noticeable with the golden ones, because the gold ones are pretty more valuable than the likes of how it does on the normal ones. So, and if you reach that higher enough, then you would able to actually get your power star, no problem. You got 550 points. I guess that qualifies you as a shining rifle. I may not like it, but I promise, so you can take this power star. Thank you, the champ. When it comes to the power of the clapping you've still got, when it comes to unleashing your power star itself. So anyways though, please even know this mission it's not that hard to be honest with you, but until later on though it gets a little bit tricky, especially noticeable without the fact that in most missions nowadays, where in the beginning portions of some missions like this can play out very easily, but until later on though it gets a little bit difficult as you progress. So the Champs Skating Challenge is the hidden mission, or in this case the secret mission in the entire stage, so something should probably keep that in mind. And also in regards to the Prankster Comets back onto Haunted Halls. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the Prankster Comet first. So even then though, that's the only thing as I must do. So even then though, I'll be back with Freezy Flake until for about a few minutes worth noting for. So even then though, let's just hit back to Haunted Halls for I would say the third time potentially. Because even then though, that way we could able to get this mission done. So even then though, Spooky Cosmic Clone Chase. Well, once again, we need to get away from those cosmic clones to begin with, but at least as far as I can usually say about this for the most part. Now, I think this mission was actually based off from almost towards at the very end of the second mission. So there's Luigi right there. Conveniently enough, though, is that some of these Comet missions always attempt to send us, well, not only for the sake of like, we're still gonna be playing as Mario for this whole time. Don't get me wrong. But, usually speaking, in certain missions and during later on though, Luigi constantly pops out of nowhere when it comes to, like, random effort. Oh god! Ah! The metal melt just kicks my butt! Ah, I wasn't paying attention. I was a little bit too hasty there. I was a little bit too hasty, especially with this, long jumps. I always keep on, like, performing, which is the only technique I always attempt to perform in certain 3D Mario games, like we already had that since Super Mario 64, as well as the original Super Mario Galaxy, as well as Super Mario 64 DS, and as well as this game right here. The only exception is Super Mario Sunshine because of the actual flood system. So, and also we got the long jump from, you know, Super Mario 3D Land, as well as Super Mario 3D World, and lastly, Super Mario Odyssey. So even though we don't know exactly what's going to be up next when it comes to the forms of the 3D Mario games for that respect, but we'll find out soon enough until when it gets to 2020, which is specifically next year, or perhaps maybe with the forms of the upcoming Nintendo Directs sometime in September. So even then, well, specifically September this year. So even then, we'll find things out by then. So anyways, so that concludes that particular mission, and we are basically done with our Haunted Halls. Well, at least for now anyway. So even then, let's just go ahead and head back into the forms of Freezy Flake Galaxy, and probably should do the normal regular mission for Brothers. So even that, and also to top it all off, we need to grab the Comet Medal at the same time as well. So even then, you probably get the idea for what I'm going to talk about here. So, obviously, the actual Fire Flower is the main treatment for this mission, as I said before, because, you know, you can easily be meltable with the actual snow itself. So, yeah, you probably get the idea. So, actually, kind of think about it, though, is the fact that one thing I forgot to mention about this since yesterday in my uploading schedules for Yoshi's Woolly World, actually, is the fact that recently that Disney able to actually announce there's going to be a teaser trailer for Mulan Remake, which I was a bit skeptical at first because, once again, much like, whoa, god, that was really close. That almost screwed me up with that particular slide right there. But anyways, though, that's a very lucky escape for that department right there. But anyway, though, for the Mulan Remake is about to due out in next year in 2020 at some time in the, well, in spring 2020. So even then, though, actually, before we get into the green pipe we go, there's actually a Comet Medal somewhere, which is usually down over there. But of course, we do need a Fire Flower in order to actually just make it happen. So even then, though, yeah, you probably get the idea. And conveniently enough, though, without the Ice Flower at this time, is the fact that in order to actually continue your progression for this mission, is that we need to now actually use the Snowballs in order to actually just to progress. They're kind of like Ice Flowers for some degree, but except the fact that you can't able to actually skate around with it anymore. So Oh well, but anyways, let's go ahead and just hop into this platform over there. In fact, the reason why I take this large shortcut to begin with, because even then, because, you know, much like the first game... Oh, son of a... Yeah, anyway, so much like the first game, I always love performing those shortcuts and stuff, so that way I can able to have ourselves a nice, faster, easier tracking of myself, especially noticeable with the fast processing time and stuff like that. So even then though, if you manage to able to melt down the giant Bowser snowman, then the mission is over. So even then though, you have to watch out for a lot of lava and stuff, so even then though, because, you know, just like the original game, then, well... it just burns your health away. So even then though, because unlike in Super Mario Sunshine, is that the lava instantly kills you, and same applies for Super Mario 3D Land, especially noticeable in 3D World. But even then though, that's as far as I can say and done. So anyways, we're gonna have to end things off at this point right there, I'm afraid, guys. So join me next time on Let's Play Super Mario Galaxy 2. Here's the fact that we are about to be continuing things on with World 3, and possibly some more of those Prankster Comets. So yeah, see you guys next time. Later, fellas.